Emotion makes us human and is something that we normally want to have in our scenes. Emotion is what will connect you with your scene partner and the audience, and is going to connect you with your character as well. It's what we can use to relate to what's happening in the scene as well. We can use emotion to give it some depth, and it makes all of us pay more attention usually. Like if you burst into tears or fly into rage on stage, the audience is probably going to be watching that. And these emotions can let us achieve this sort of attention or engagement pretty fast if you use it at the top of a scene. And that's what we're talking about in this episode. And I talked about in the past few episodes is the top of the scene, initiations, and setting base reality. I'll put a link to all of those in the show notes and description. So emotions can be complicated too, because some of us don't process emotions immediately. So delayed emotional processing is a thing. I have that. And other people can process them right away. That's most people. Some of us have a tough time, though, labeling an emotion accurately, like for real. We might have difficulty taking that label and then knowing how to express it. Alexithymia is about 10% of the population. So you're not alone if you experience some of these challenges. It's just, for a lot of us, it can be situational. It can be like something that we get because of trauma, or it could be something you're genetically born with. It's part of your physiology, it can be changed. So these challenges we can work on. There are workarounds for this, and I'll link some episodes where I've discussed those workarounds in the show notes and the description. And I'll for sure be discussing these in future episodes as well. So right now, though, we're talking about that top of the scene. So emotions and base reality. The most common scene starts fairly grounded, even keel. So we're not using huge emotions at the top of the scene. This works best usually. You don't want to start out at like number 10. And starting off grounded, just kind of regular, level of energy is often what we're taught. And it's sometimes taught as a rule, but sometimes you can break that rule. And when it's broken, it can be fantastic. It can be bad, but it can also be great. I still remember a scene where that scene was initiated by grabbing a chair, standing up on that chair, and yelling at top volume. I'm not going to demo it because I don't want to blow out your eardrums, but that's how it was. And I still remember that scene. It was great. You can start off with just that kind of massive emotional overreaction to something really mundane. It can be a lot of fun. But if you start the scene at an emotional level of 2, you're going to be building up that energy during the scene. But if you start that scene at like an emotional level of 10, you're kind of already in the middle of things, and you might have to bring it down, and then you can bring it up, and so on like that. So it can be done well. And if done well, it's that memorable. I mean, things can go south, but things can be done really well. To do things well, you usually need reps. You need to practice. So here's a way to practice that. 2 people up. This can be like a warm-up style exercise, or you can let the scene continue to play out. Let's call this exercise, it's Tuesday. Player 1 makes some kind of mundane statement like, it's Tuesday. Player 2 is going to react with an extreme emotion, like, say, terror to Tuesday. Then you need to figure out why that reaction, why did that mundane fact end up bringing up that level of emotion. So then you can flip that. You can flip the exercise. So player 1 is going to make a huge emotional sound. Just keep it simple. It's a great big emotional sound. You can use a word in there, just like don't define it. Don't justify what it is. Now player 2 responds to that with a level-headed justification. Then figure it out. Figure out why that just happened. So you can practice this alone too. divide your room into like 4 sort of quadrant areas and assign an emotion to each quadrant. Now step into that area and immediately start a monologue in that emotional state, whatever it is. Then step into the next area and switch right away to that next emotion. Again, at like a level 10. And this is going to train you to be able to start a scene from nothing without that, bouncing off a scene partner right away as your initiation. And remember, if you have difficulty processing emotions, improv is about accepting what everyone puts into a scene. So if you don't know what to label something, like someone gifts you with an actual label, whatever you do for that is correct for that emotion. Whatever word might come to you or whatever label you put on to some other emotion, all of it's correct. We have to have each other's backs for this. And if you ever need to express something, you can always go with what you're actually feeling and heighten that. So scene partners, remember that about 10% of improvisers feel this way, that they have a difficulty with delayed processing, not being able to label emotions, and so on. Everybody, have each other's backs. I'm Jen deHaan, and this is your Improv Brain. You can find a bunch of improv resources, including downloads, and my newsletter as well at improvupdate.com. Bye for now.